6:35 a.m. I haven't been to this park in a long time because there's so many depressing things taking place here. But we'll go category by category. Look at the water waste. May 29th. This sapling and this willow tree were both made to suffer at the hands of goats for the sake of getting rid of the very plants that once again and predictably and every year are now climbing up through them. You see the light green there? That's the yellow star thistle kicking in. The reinforcements of invasives. Remember, I point this out every time, but you see those branches there? That was enough to deter the goats from eating the weeds down in there. So you got last year's and this year's mixed in there. May 29th was long enough for the new generation to be yellow in amongst the yellow of last year. Thriving off of that goat poop fertilizer. All right, got my boots on, got the dogs up high so we can enter the danger zone. Let's go take a closer look at this oak tree. You can see a lot of the lower branches are still bare, but we do have at least a couple of leaves. May 29th, and the tree is still recovering from the goats, whereas the invasive plants were back almost immediately and have simply been taking shifts with each other. This is a myriad of species of invasive fire fuel, and the greenest one right now is the yellow star thistle. We got some invasive vetch that's still kind of green. Look up there. There's the section of barbed wire I didn't manage to remove. And look what the invasive plants do with it. Compare that to these sections where I actually removed the barbed wire between the posts. It's interesting. Sections of some trees didn't recover at all. And the California black walnut always breaks my heart because it's beautiful, and it finally recovers. It finally starts to look nice again. We got several of them here. Right in time for the goats to come through. Oh no, look at that. This should not be empty already. This should not be empty already. That is ridiculous. The sidewalks are flooded with irrigation for decorative invasive plants. And the creek is dry on May 29th. That's all the Italian thistle. prematurely dry creek. We got a little bit of seep monkey flower, a little mugwort, some upright sedge, and then we're right into the Italian thistle. Oh my God, look at that. What a nightmare. Italian thistle and ripgut brome and slender oats. Good job, goats. Just gets better and better every year. Damn. Italian thistle growing out of the split of a tree. First time I've seen that. That's depressing. Do a play-by-play. I'm walking through the annual European grasses that have been back here for so long that they're already dead and falling over. I mean, this is how long the fire fuel has been back. It came back almost immediately following the goat grazing. And then we have this. An ocean of Italian thistle. All the way back there too. That's not habitat, people. That's a nightmare. What's the one spot where there's a little bit of hope? Where I've been working. Oh, I'm so sorry, rabbits. I should have brought you guys some food. But I am going to improve your habitat. Okay, so there are my supplies for today. Last time I was here, I was taking out the Italian thistle. You know, one step at a time. I didn't get rid of all the grasses, but you can tell that the weed problem is nothing like out there. And that's just with my humble, simple effort. Nothing particularly crazy. I want to show a couple of things that have happened. Some positive things. This sapling has recovered. We have native horseweed springing up. It's the first time I've seen it. I would like to think that it has something to do with me working on the soil, trying to improve the soil. And this is an orange hummingbird mint that I planted. I did not expect it to make it. Last time I saw it, a human was out here cutting the flowers off of it. And despite my efforts to keep the goats out, the goats came right through my barbed wire and ate everything in here last year, so I gave up on this spot. It gets depressing, so I always tell myself I'm just going to give up and move on, but here I am. We got this oak sapling here that's going to get annihilated by the goats. This sapling gets annihilated by the goats every year. And every time they do that, it just makes more room for this invasive fire fuel. Anyway, today I'm going to pull the grasses and replace them. I'm going to plant the seeds of native grasses. See how devastating it is to have these invasives. They just drop so many seeds. Even in the areas where I've made improvements and cleared, they just produce so many seeds that they're still all over the place. One of the consequences of me getting frustrated and giving up is that then I'm not out here during the wetter months when it's easier to pull these. The ground is hard now. It's harder to get the whole root. The only place out here not absolutely smothered in this invasive plant problem is the place where one human decided to try a different approach. Oh, good. That's inspiring. Now we're here. Chainsaws mixed in with the street sweepers. All right, that's enough depressing crap for today. I hope people learned something. What do you think was interesting about this episode? What did you find not interesting? You gotta love moving through this if you're wildlife, right? Sorry, I said something inaccurate. There is one other spot besides the spot I worked on with some native plants. That's right down in the creek bed. And that's getting fewer and fewer every year too. It's about the only place you can find any of the black walnuts. Got some seep monkey flower. We're gonna break the hundreds next week. The reason I'm mentioning that is the water's gone. The animals won't have the water for hydration and cooling opportunities. Now that's bad enough, but when the goats arrive, the shade that the native plants provide is going to be taken away because the goats are going to turn this into a graveyard. They're going to skeletonize things like that. Things like that. Gone. Just kiss this goodbye. Yeah, and this is a wonderful plant. So minty. Mixed in with the seep monkey flower and the sedges. Over here we usually have some water plantains. Oh, look at that. We have a bee on the seep monkey flower. I have to get excited about things like that because you usually only see the few pollinators that we have left pollinating with invasive plants because that's all they have to pollinate with. What do we have over there? Oh, it's the water plantain. I don't think I've seen it grow to this point anymore, or before. Cool. More seep monkey flower, more pennyroyal. People should have like a partial shade water area in each of their yards growing this because it smells amazing. So the one thing that I can do on a semi-positive note, since this is dry, is try to locate the Hooker's evening primroses that we're trying to grow, but I'm pretty sure the goats destroyed them. I tried to find them later and didn't see any sign of them. Nope. Replaced by Italian thistle. That's what happens when the goats come through. The natives are removed. The invasives gain more ground. I mean, look what we're reduced to. Some natives are right on the edge. See, the fact that this is dry is sad, but what could potentially counter that is that these natives are so tough. You could at least have some green vegetation to help cool the area as the summer goes on. Maybe some shade, maybe even some nutrients for the wildlife during the hardest months of the year, but instead it's going to be destroyed by goats. The goats make an already bad situation almost impossible to survive. Human priorities. And as we leave that area, you see